Okay, cool. It started to record, so I will pass it on to Elan and Victoria.
Okay, thank you, Kyle. So today we're going to do an intro to neural networks workshop. So we're going to get you playing around with neural networks, trying to modify things and seeing what difference does it make. And to facilitate all this uh, experimentation, we're going to use a tool called Kaggle. And Kaggle is used a lot in different data science competitions. I've had machine learning classes where we've used it at Carleton. So it's very good and it's very interesting. And let me do a quick demo of how of just the overall website. So let me just share my screen. Okay, so here is the Kaggle website, and there's I created a competition just for this workshop itself. So competitions. There's the actually, yeah. So here it is. And basically, we're going to use it to allow you to submit your predictions. And based on those predictions, the website is going to calculate a score. Actually, I need to go back. All right, so here it is. So we have the data. So this is what you're going to use to train your neural network and use that for prediction. So first we have a training data set. And this file, it contains, I think, around 40,000 samples with different data. So this data is regarding the combined cycle power plant uh, over 6 years. So it's data containing to different outputs regarding this power plant. And if we just, so it has 5 columns for the training data set. And the 5 columns are, should be here. So it's temperature, exhaust vacuum, ambient pressure, relative humidity, and net hourly electrical energy output. So for this workshop, we're going to get you to predict the net hourly electrical energy output based on the first 4 uh, input variables. So given temperature, exhaust vacuum, ambient pressure, and relative humidity, what is the net hourly electrical energy output? And in this training file, so once you sign in and you accept the rules, you can download this training file. And it's just a CSV file containing a lot of different, or the 40,000 different training samples. And for this CSV file, you will see that it has all 5 columns. It will have the temperature, exhaust vacuum, ambient pressure, relative humidity, and the net hourly electrical energy output, which you're trying to predict. So for training, you need this. However, for testing your model, you're not going to have this last column. So if we go to the test CSV file, you'll see that it only has 4 columns. And that's because we want to test to see how well you can actually predict this net hourly electrical energy output. So once you've trained your model, so first you want to download this file, train your model, and then once you think that you have a good model and that's the one that you want to submit, you just download this test file as well. And you run your predictions on these first 4 columns, and you get a list of the values you predict. You save that to a CSV file, and then you submit it to the leaderboard. So you press submit predictions, and you would submit this CSV file. And let me show you what the CSV file that you need to submit looks like. So there's a sample submission file that is here. So if we go data, where is it? Just trying to look for it. Sorry about that. Yeah, so the sample submission, I think you should be able to see it on the website. And let me just show you what it looks like. And these aren't actual predictions. These are just random numbers. So basically, you're going to want to have you're going to want to create a column for the ID. So that's just the prediction number. It just goes up by 1. And you're going to want to concatenate that with your actual predictions. So the power predicted from this power point. And that's just another column of all the predictions. And you take that, you save the CSV file, and you just click Submit Predictions, and you just drag the CSV file into here. And just for this workshop, we have 10 different submissions that you can try. And the way Kaggle works is that there's test data, and so you predict. So we have 3,000 different values that you're going to predict. But Kaggle separates your prediction results into a public leaderboard and private leaderboard. And this is done so while the competition is still going on. So right now the competition, we say it's competition, but it's more for you to try things out and just see how your model works. But for the Carleton AI Society, we have another competition. That's more where you're trying to compete and see who can get the best one. But for this one, you're like, if it's your first neural network, like time playing around with them, it's more just to try things out. But the leaderboard, for the public leaderboard, it's only calculated with 30% of your data. So you submit predictions, and it'll only display your prediction results with 30% of the data. And for the private leaderboard, it will be calculated with the other 70%. And this is basically just done so your predictions aren't overfitted to the public leaderboard data. So you want to have overall good predictions, not just to the test data that's only on the public leaderboard. And one thing I can show you is, apart from the workshop here, we have the CAIS, or the CAIS, if you go to the CAIS website, so we have a Carleton AI Society competition. So once you're done with this workshop, you can try trying to predict another data set on the other Kaggle page that we have for the Carleton AI Society. And this one, like the prizes, first place gets 150, second place gets 75, and then 25. And this is very similar. It's a different data set. So for this data set, I believe you're trying to predict the student submission. Yeah, you're trying to predict the student grade. So given like different parameters about the student, so like student grades in other classes, their age, their school, and different, there's a lot of different variables. There's 36 columns, and you're trying to predict their grade. So that's for the Carleton AI Society competition. So I definitely suggest everyone goes and takes a look at that and tries to have their own submission. And I believe for this one, you can have teams. Yeah, so I see 2 people have already tried it out, but yeah, highly recommend you try playing around with this data set as well. Yeah, but for this workshop, we're going to stick to this power plant output data set, and we're going to try to predict the power. And if anyone has any questions about submission, feel free to let us know, and we'll help you out with that. But yeah, so basically, once you have the CSV file saved, you just press Submit Predictions, and you just select your CSV file. And that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much all the Kaggle stuff. And I think right now Victoria's going to walk you through the neural network side of things.
Can you share the link to the competition? Because when you shared it with me earlier, I couldn't submit anything.
Yeah, so here it's in the chat.
Yeah, it says it's limited participation.
Oh, let me see if I can change that.
Cool. While you're working with that,
Mhm.
I can just show them the other
Okay.
stuff if you
Sounds
stop
good.
sharing your screen. Cool. So I have created kind of a sample notebook that just has all the steps that um, you would need. So basically, here's just a simple introduction and then some helpful links on how you might be helpful to build a neural network. So basically, recap from last week, we went through how to build a neural network using CAIS, and this work notebook here will kind of walk you through the same steps. Import packages, then load the data set. You'll need to create your model. So this link right here is really good on how to set up your model. You can also go back to last week's notebook, which is also on the CAIS Kaggle page to build your model. And then there are links here just to the documentation. So here we can look at the documentation of the input object and a sample on how to use it. Same thing for dense layer and activation layer. And then again, after you build your model, you want to compile your model, selecting the optimizer, loss function, and metrics. And if you click the links, it'll take you to your options and look into them. And then after you compile your model, you train your model, and then evaluate on your test data. And if you want to do another step, you could do some data visualization based on the loss and the metrics over training time if you wanted to. But yeah, that's there to kind of help you go through setting up your own neural network. So you can download it, and then you can either copy and edit it in Kaggle and use their free resources, or you can download the code and use it in Google Colab as well to try and set up your neural network and train on the data. So that's basically just the stuff that I have for this part. And then you guys can go ahead and try this out yourself. We'll be here for the next while just to for questions and stuff. But yeah, this workshop is mostly for you guys to try it out.
And I've put the correct link. It should be working now in the chat for the competition.
Yeah, so this tutorial or workshop is kind of branching off of last week's, where we went through how to build a neural network. And since like doing a workshop online is kind of very lecture-y, so last week was like the lecture-ish portion, and this week is like the hands-on, do it yourself, and we're here if you have questions. But let me see if I can find the link for last week's notebook, because that pretty much shows you how to do everything you need to do.